Hey guys, so today we're going to talk about home defense, home security, some things that people do and don't do, and how we can make our home a little bit safer and make sure that nobody enters that we don't want to enter. So let's go. Okay guys, now before we get started, there are two different ways we could go about this conversation. The security slash prevention aspect, or the responding to someone actually being in your home. So we're gonna focus on the security and prevention today, and we'll go over the other stuff at a later time. So things to consider, cameras. Cameras are huge. 2023, if there's not a camera somewhere, it's a little weird. So don't do yourself a disservice by being recorded everywhere else in society and not having any kind of surveillance equipment in your own home. Two is going to be alarms and other deterrents, whether those be windows and doors, or if your alarm is tied into your security system. There's a few different things we're going to talk about there today. And then maybe you have a dog, animal deterrents, whether it's a vicious attack dog or an ankle biter, that it's at least going to sound that alarm and be super yappy if someone is where they're not supposed to be. And then lastly, your firearms and how you can protect your home and be able to respond in the event you are able to catch someone in the act or acting suspicious around your home. To give you a little bit of I would never suggest approaching someone unarmed if they are on your property, in your home, and you have no idea what their intent is. So let's talk about each one of these things and break it down step by step. I'm gonna talk about these little things that I got here, and these are window and door alarms. Now, these things are very inexpensive. I got a 6 or 8 pack, I forget which one it was, for around $30, and that is awesome. They're battery operated, and how they work is it comes in 2 pieces, and you put this magnetic portion on the door or window itself, and then this portion will stay stationary on the door jamb or the window ledge. And if they separate themselves, an alarm will go off. We're gonna see how that works right here. All right guys, so you can go ahead and set this to alarm, and you can see how it's gonna go off. Every time you open the door, that alarm's gonna go off. If you wanna keep your door open and accessible, you can put it on chime, and then it'll just do a nice little ding as people come and go. That way, you're alerted. And if you just wanna go ahead and turn it off, then hey, it's just a normal door, no alarms, nothing. I like to keep mine on alarm because, let a fool F around and find out. I just want to be alerted to it. Those on all of my downstairs windows and doors, because I don't want someone that I don't want access to my home being able to get in without me knowing about it. And if they hear that, 9 times out of 10, they are booking it and they are not sticking around because they have no idea how to turn it off. So guys, those things being as cheap as they are a great deterrent. Like I was saying earlier, once you open a window or pry open a screen door and you start hearing that alarm go off, and you're not sticking around. I don't care who you are. Unless you're just hell-bent on hurting that person, you've got some sort of personal vendetta, your common criminal is not sticking around hearing that alarm because they have no idea if that's tied into a bigger alarm system. The police are called. They have no idea that those things cost $30. And even if they did know, they would struggle to turn that thing off before the homeowner is alerted and is getting themselves prepared for a situation that hopefully the person who entered that home is ready for. Because I can guarantee you, a homeowner who's ready is gonna win that battle 9 times out of 10. So let's continue on. All right, guys. So the next thing we're gonna talk about are security cameras. Now, there's a million options out there. We got Ring cameras, Blink cameras, Vivint, ADT, Brinks, etc., etc. You have to pick which one works the best for you, what plan works best for you. If it's gonna be tied into the police department where you're paying that monthly subscription for live monitoring and all that stuff, or if it's something like Blink where it just goes to a cloud or SD storage device and you have the ability to review things after the fact. just kind of depends what you guys want to do, what you're willing to pay for. In today's economy, I get it, you got to cut prices where you can. Maybe you cancel one of those Netflix or Hulu subscriptions and spend a little bit more on security, or you buy 1 or 2 less energy drinks or snacks at the grocery store to compensate that cost. It's really whatever your priorities are. At a minimum, it is a visual deterrent. So a lot of times when you trigger these cameras, especially at night, some have external lights built onto them where the light comes on, it's motion detected, or an IR light starts coming on and blinking, letting them know like, hey, you're being recorded right now. And that's going to a database where they can't erase it. Even if they yank the camera down, it's still being saved in a external location. So very good deterrent. Something else I'd maybe talk about is yard signs. Even if you don't have cameras and you can't afford any of that stuff, you can go get a $5 ADT or Brink sign and stick it in your yard or stick it on the windows, and maybe that's enough to deter someone. Again, it's all going to depend what people know you have, if they have some sort of personal vendetta against you, or they're just going to be turned off immediately, like, you know what, I'm going to pick an easier target. And at the end of the day, that's really what this is all about, is making yourself a little bit of an inconvenience to where somebody doesn't want to mess with your stuff, because there are easier targets out there than yourself, who is a little bit more prepared than the average homeowner, and they just don't want to deal with that because they're trying to do some snatch and grab type stuff. They don't want to be confronted, and if you act like you know what you're doing, then you're probably gonna be all right in the eyes of that situation. So let's keep going and check out these security cameras. All right, guys, you're gonna want these cameras at different areas of the home, different angles, all those entry and exit points, alleyways, backyards, etc. Doorbell cameras are huge. They catch a lot of stuff. And don't forget indoors. That could be the key to some crucial evidence that someone was in your home and you had to defend yourself. As you can see, the camera picked me up. I'm inside the house. I do have a weapon. In this case, it's a knife. This guy's broken in your home, has a weapon in his hand. He's up to no good. So you guys are gonna have to do what you need to do to protect your family and your loved ones. So these cameras come in clutch. All right, so in addition to the cameras inside, I want to talk about these baby gates. Now, these things are a pain in the butt if you don't know what you're doing with them. It took me the longest time to get smooth with opening them up. Once you get used to it, it's just as simple as flipping the little lever here and, you're good to go. I have those on the bottom and the top of the stairway. Right now, this one is open, but at nighttime, once we go to bed, they're closed up. And no matter what, those things are making noise. Even if you're smooth with it, they still make noise. So good little security deterrent in there, in addition to cameras and some other things that we're going to talk about. All right, guys, ambient lighting is important because it's going to give you the ability to see what's going on without having to flip a light switch and using your big, bright interior lights, which are going to give away your position from outside because they'll be able to clearly see in. I know in the camera it's going to look like there's a lot of dark spots, but I promise you with the naked eye, I can see everything in both of these rooms and what's going on. So ambient lighting to me is an absolute must. All right, guys, so as I said earlier, you can have those yard signs out there. That's a deterrent. And then any of those stickers that you could put on the windows around your home to just make it seem like you have an alarm, even if you don't. And if you do, great, that's awesome. Hopefully you pay for a subscription. But again, you can order these stickers online just to give the perception of security. Additionally, we have those motion sensor lights. As you can see, as soon as that sensor's tripped, the light comes on. And these things come in many different designs, and you can put them on different areas of your home. So they can be wall mounted, they can be mounted to a door as part of your security camera system where they have cameras built into them. You can set the range of the motion activation, and additionally you could put them on objects outside of your home, say trees and things like that, down the driveway to give you a little bit more of a heads up. All right, guys, so for windows and doors, windows, you could put shrubs underneath of it, just make a little bit of noise and make it kind of inconvenient to get in there. I don't recommend bars because we don't live in a prison. Storm doors, reinforced, those are cool. You see this door is a little bit more secure than your average screen door. Not indestructible, but a little bit better. The hinges on your door here, you want to go ahead and swap those screws out with 3-inch ones to get deep into that stud, to give you a little bit more bite and be more secure. Deadbolt's always a good thing. That lock's going to stick way further into the door jamb than just your average little door handle knob. And then you can replace those screws on the plates as well, just to give you a little bit more bite. Also have a deadbolt on my screen door, vice just a little flip lock, because those things are crap. And again, we got that alarm there, so that's cool. I'm moving to backyards. If you have fences and things like that, go ahead and throw a padlock on there. Yes, it's easily defeated. You can cut it with bolt cutters, or you can just hop the fence, but it just makes it that more, much more inconvenient. As you can see, it's not that tall. You can hop it. Sorry about the state of my backyard, guys. I'm trying to get the grass to grow, put some seed down and watering it. Look at Emilio. He's ready to mess somebody up. He knows it's me. All right, who's a good boy? All right, so this guy's going to let me know if anybody's on my property that's not supposed to be there. He's going to do his job. All right, guys, make sure you go ahead and shut those garages every night. About 10% of home break-ins are accessed through the garage, which is insane. If you want to go a step further, I'm going to show you that you're able to lock the inside of your garage via the track. You can use whatever type of lock you want and however tight you want it to be, but it's a good idea if you go away on vacation and you don't want anybody to access your home through the garage. So just something to consider. All right, guys, so in addition to all these things, you also have to be vigilant on what's going on outside your home. Are people stopping, casing your home, pointing things out, trying to, get your patterns down, things like that. So that interaction there wasn't really alarming all on its own, but just a few seconds later, here that vehicle comes again. Guy's still staring, like, what is he doing? These are things you need to question to yourself. All right, guys, so now we're to the point where we've done everything we can to deter and try to prevent people from getting into our home, onto our property, and potentially causing harm to our loved ones. So now we're left with, okay, they're here, they're hell-bent on avoiding all these measures that I've taken to keep them out. They are still insistent upon entering my property, and I have no idea what they're gonna be doing. So then, we're left with a few options, and it's gonna kind of be up to you what you're more comfortable with in a home defense situation. Now, I'm not going to advocate for one over the other. I do have my personal preference, and I'll go over that in a second. But to each his own. Just understand that these bullets have to go somewhere. If you're in a suburb or a heavily populated residential area, just understand that walls don't always stop everything. So just be mindful of that and kind of what you got going on around you. If you're in a big open farm setting, then hey, have at it, get the claymores. So handgun, preferably with a light. I know we talked about ambient lighting and all that stuff, but you can never be too careful, especially if you have to, venture outside. Maybe you get, bum rushed and you have to run and get away, and the closest exit is that outside door. You don't want to be caught out in the dark by yourself. So good handgun with a light, and of course, I like my dots. Next is the FUD special, just a good old 12 gauge. Everybody swears, they hear that rat and they're going to go running. First of all, I'm not going to a gunfight without my weapon already loaded. That stuff you see in the movies where, they're just patrolling around and then they wait to see the enemy and then they rack it, like, you're an idiot. Have your shit ready to go. So that pump should happen as soon as you pick this thing up when you're upstairs or wherever you may be. Or if you keep your stuff loaded because you don't have kids around and it's secured in other manners where they can't, pull that trigger, then hey, do what you do. That's up to you. 12 gauge, would suggest buckshot because birdshot isn't always going to do the job, and slugs are going to go through the whole house. Especially if you got pets, kids, things like that, stuff to be mindful for. Handgun, I didn't mention it, but I personally would run hollows because, again, walls and things like that has a better chance of catching that hollow tip. It's going to spread out and stop and not go through, 5 walls in my home because, today everything's made out of crap, so it is what it is. And then my personal favorite would be a 300 Blackout Shorty Boy. I think this is awesome. Again, weapon light, optic to do what I need to do, increased firepower, and I do run hollow point 300 Blackout rounds in this because, again, I don't want super duper over penetration, but I do want to stop the enemy, and 300 blackout is awesome. And this being a shorty boy, I can get around the stairwell, the hallways, and go in and out of rooms without having too much bulk behind me. So that's my personal pick. Second would be a handgun, and last and probably never for me personally would be a shotgun. If that's your preferred, then hey, I'm not talking shit on it, just not what I would want to use. It's just not for me. All right guys, so I hope you liked today's video. By no means is this a complete list or everything that you should have. If you have suggestions, tips, tricks that you use, go ahead and put them down in those comments. I would love to see them, and I'm sure the other viewers would as well. Just things to consider, guys. Lock your doors, plenty of lighting, and take those extra measures to keep yourself and your family safe and give you a little bit more warning time to be able to respond appropriately to whatever may be going on inside or outside of your home without your knowledge and without your consent. Thanks for watching, guys. Like, subscribe, and do all that good stuff. Until next time, peace.